Why is it that some people struggle to save even a few $1,000s over years, while others can build serious financial security just in months? Well, if you ever felt like saving money is just too slow, or it's too hard, or it's just not happening fast enough, you're not alone. People want to save more, but they seem stuck in this cycle of expenses and bad habits and financial plateaus, and they just can't get past it. But here's the truth: they don't have a money problem. They have a system problem. They have a process problem. They have a behavior problem. And in this episode, I'm going to give you the exact steps to save more in 6 months than some people will save in 6 years, and without sacrificing everything you love. So, what does it take to actually accelerate your savings? Well, in some cases, it's going to take some hard decisions, some hard choices, some big discipline. But just because something might be difficult doesn't make it impossible. And in fact, when we talk about money, when we talk about your financial future and financial freedom, it's less about the money you make and more about the behaviors, more about the habits, more about the choices and the priorities you have. And so in this episode, I want to walk through some of the things that you can do to accelerate your savings and at the same time not give up all the things you love. I don't think that deprivation is the path to a rich life, but discipline might be. Right now, your money's losing value each and every day, just sitting in your bank account. And savings alone is just not going to get you ahead. But most people, they put off investing because they think it's too complicated or they don't have enough to start. Here's the truth: you can start with as little as $100, and it's way simpler than you think. And the fact is this: financial freedom isn't just for the wealthy or someone with a finance degree. But the real challenge is that most investing advice today is overly complicated. It's filled with jargon, or it assumes that you have thousands of dollars before you even start. And that's exactly why I created my program, Investing Simplified. It's a 4-part mini course that gives you clear step-by-step plans to get you started with investing with as little as $100. No confusion, no guesswork, and without needing to be a finance expert. You'll learn how to make your money work hard for you, even if you've never invested before. So if you're ready to take control of your financial future, go to joininvestingsimplified.com right now, or click the link in this description, and let's start your investing journey today. It's simpler than you think, and I got you. So there's a couple things that I think we need to think about if we're really going to save more in 6 months than some people do in 6 years. And the first thing is a mindset shift. We need to stop thinking small. Here's the thing: I think that a lot of people underestimate how quickly they can literally shift their financial situation. And it is primarily because we're operating in this slow, incremental change type of environment. But if we want massive shifts in a short period of time, we actually have to think differently. We have to look at things from a different perspective. And we need to start compression thinking, is what I call it. So instead of spreading savings out for years, set a short, intense window where you go all in. Okay? It's not forever, it's for 6 months. And so now you've got this compressed period of hyper focus, if you will. Okay? And you know that it is for a short period of time, a short duration. So decide at this point, you decide, what do you want in savings at the end of 6 months? Pick that number, and whatever you feel is comfortable, but actually I want you to feel a little uncomfortable, but possible, okay? Because when you do that, now you have that goal. And now the next piece really is shifting from a goal to what I call a declaration. See, I think it's easy for us to set goals. I want to have this, I want to do this, I want to lose weight, I want to add $100. I want to stop eating candy, whatever that is. It's easy to set those goals, but those goals are easy to kick down the road too. I mean, think about your New Year's resolutions. How many of them, as you sit here today, are you still on track for? Versus, oh, guess I missed that one. Okay, and look, I'm not different. This isn't judgment. This is just reality. And so here's what I believe. Once we set a goal, we need to convert that goal into a declaration. When you create a declaration, you say, I will, then you must, because the alignment of the congruence of your choices, the congruence of that open declaration changes things. And you'll see that when you start to take goals and put them into declarations, you might change your goals a little bit, or you might shrink not the goal down, but the number of goals you have, because now you feel the commitment to do that. So in this first step, we need to then make the commitment real. And one of the ways we make the commitment real is to make a declaration that it is going to happen. Okay. Let go of the idea that you need to enjoy life through spending right now. Make sure that you have some joy points in this, but at the same time, know that maybe there's a little bit of discomfort for the short term to create a lot of breathing room and a lot of comfort in the long term. Okay. Think about this. You go to the gym and you lift weights. I've been lifting since high school, and it doesn't matter what day it is, whether it's leg day or it's chest day or anything. Sometimes, just sometimes, that weight it doesn't feel good. Okay. But it is in that short burst of lifting the weight and then the recovery that allows us to grow. Okay. So the thing that will keep you on track in this space is to make sure that you know why you're doing this. It's not an arbitrary goal to say, hey, I want $1,000 in my high yield savings account at 6 months. But we want $1,000 in a high yield savings account because it's going to do what for your life. Okay. And then treat this 6 month period like your financial boot camp. And I'm not your drill sergeant, but I'm going to be your cheerleader the whole way. All right. So that's number one. Number two, I want you to slash unseen leaks. I mean, like going through with a critical scalpel on all the money that is going out the door and say, do I really need this? Because remember, I said you don't have a money problem, you have a system problem, a process problem, and a behavior problem. That also means that there's an allocation problem. In other words, where are you allocating your priorities and your money with those priorities? And the first step is to literally stop the leaks. If I kind of zoomed into your checking account, to your credit card statement, and we start to look at things from the perspective of do you really need this, we'll find some leaks. Okay. And so tracking everything becomes really important during that first period of the 6 month journey. So you write every single dollar down. I remember when I was writing my diet down, because I had to write it down, I thought maybe I won't eat it. It changed the behaviors in a different way. But I want you to do what I would call an expense triage. What are your necessities? And I will do this with a color coding system also. So if I know what my necessities are, they must be there. So I will color code them in green. Okay. Write them down, write it all down. This is rent, utilities. This is the stuff that if you don't have it, you die. Okay. It's not Manny's. It's not Petty's. It's not Netflix. It's not the latest technology. It is survival. It is roof. It is food. It is healthcare. It is clothing. It's transportation and it's shelter. That's it. Okay. You're going to keep those. You're going to mark those green. You know what that is. Then you find your discretionary or your wants. These are dining out. This is shopping. This is subscriptions. These are those types of things. Well, those, I want you to color them in one of two colors. Yellow, if it's this is a want and I kind of want to keep it, or red in the sense of I want to cut this or I want to pause it. Doesn't mean that you have to stop it altogether. Just ask for a 3 month pause, a 6 month pause. Okay. If you haven't been using the gym membership, okay, get a 6 month pause on it. Okay. And then the third category in this triage is hidden costs. Those are the things that happen in the background that you are either not aware of or vaguely aware of it because they just happen through the process. And this is fees. It could be auto renewals. It could be other unused memberships, dues, things like that. And those we want to eliminate completely. So we're going to cut those. Okay. Then the other thing that I would do at this point in time is I would also look at some of my providers, whether it's my mobile phone, my internet, my insurance, my my cable, all those. I would call them and I would negotiate with them. Everything's negotiable. Okay. And then the last piece in here is for you to put a 72-hour rule in. And that is if you have the urge to buy something in this next 6 months, that you have a 72-hour cooling off period. Okay. Not saying not to buy it. Give it 72 hours, 3 days. And if you still have that urge, okay, then okay. All right. This is gonna allow you to cut the emotional spending. And I did another episode on the spending and structuring of that and how we overspend. And there's emotional spending, there's comparison spending, and we have these spending triggers. So it's going to allow you to start cutting the emotional spending. It's going to reduce your social spending, and it's going to eliminate, hopefully, your comparison spending in this process. So that leads me to number 3. Number 3 is let's get a bigger shovel. Increase your income. The fastest way to save more money is to have a bigger shovel of money to throw at it. And so we can cut our expenses, but we can only cut so far. Okay? But if we can increase our income, there may be no ceiling on that. And by increasing our income, we definitively shorten the time to financial freedom because we have more income to throw at it. Literally, if all I did was increase my income $200 a month over 30 years, it's $350,000. Okay? It doesn't take a lot to make a lot, and it can have an exponential impact on what you're doing. And the power of this 6-month journey that I'm trying to put you on is not how much you're going to save in the 6 months. It's who you're going to become over the 6 months to be able to save that. The habits you create, the decisions you make, the behaviors that you build in, that you become that person that allows you to get to that point of financial freedom. So this is this time right here to increase your income is a 6-month hustle sprint. Okay. That means side hustles. That means gig stuff. That means additional shifts, things like that. If I can, for 6 months, hyper focus on finding a way to increase my income for a period of time and use that income to build the savings and kickstart myself into what I call the wealth priority ladder in chapter 12 of my book and get you rolling into it, man, that's going to accelerate it really quickly. So things like, are there services you can sell online? Freelancing, maybe you do web design, maybe you do graphic design, maybe you do writing, copywriting, maybe you do proofreading, freelancing, coaching, writing, graphics, design, things like that. Or maybe there's a part-time gig you can do, whether it's Uber, food delivery, weekend shifts, things like that. Maybe you can flip some things. I know here, if I just went behind me, that is a tech closet behind me. I got all kinds of tech in there that I'm not really using and I probably won't use. And if I really got, diligent, I could take all that stuff, put it on Facebook Marketplace or somewhere else and sell it. Just flip the items. We don't need it. Okay. And then a couple of other things you can do here if you're an employee. You can ask for a raise or a bonus. That doesn't usually go well. Okay. And here's why. You go in and say, I would like to get a raise. But why? Here's how I approach negotiation, especially when it comes to increased compensation. Your compensation is going to be based upon the value you create. No two ways about it. And whether you've been there a year, 10 years, actually doesn't matter. And that may be a hard truth for someone to take on. But the fact that you worked the same job for 10 years doesn't entitle you to more money. The fact that you created more value in that job because you've worked it 10 years does. That's the difference. Okay. So before you go in asking for a raise or a bonus or something like that, get really clear on the value you are providing and how much incremental or additional value you are providing. And if you're not clear on it, then maybe we need to get clear on how you can provide more value. What projects can you do? What skills can you skill up? What things can you do? Okay? Because when you skill up, when you have that and your values up, then getting a raise, getting a bonus becomes a lot easier. And you might have a different conversation with your boss to say, listen, I would like to get paid more, but I would like to take on more responsibility and I want to be able to provide more value. Where can I take on projects? Where can I do those things and co create a journey path for you to make that happen? Okay. And then the last thing in this segment I want to just touch on is to use any unexpected cash wisely. If you get a windfall like a tax refund, a bonus, side income, pop it straight into savings. For this 6 months, straight into savings. Be disciplined about it. Put it in there and make it happen. Okay. During this 6 months, though, you got to be really careful about lifestyle creep because all of a sudden, if you're making more income, and all of a sudden the lifestyle starts to expand for that additional income, and then we never get any savings out of it. All right. That leads me to number 4. Make your money work for you. The subtitle of my book is Getting Your Money to Work Harder for You Than You Did for It. That is what's going to give you the freedom. It isn't actually how much you make. It's not even how much you keep that makes the difference. It is how much is working for you that makes the difference. Your money should be earning for you. And so one of the things you got to look at is the money you have, what's it doing? How is it invested? Are you following the wealth priority ladder? Are you following the principles and the things that I put in the book? When you first start out, most of it's going into a high yield savings account. That's fine. 4.5%. It's better than 0.01% in a savings account or nothing in a checking account. Okay. You could use CDs or money market accounts, although those have limitations and they may tie you down. It's not fully liquid like a high yield savings account. But we want to start getting our money to make money for us. And then ultimately, we want it invested. We don't want a bunch of money sitting in a high yield savings account beyond our peace of mind fund. We want the money working for us. That means we're going to put it into our Roth IRAs or our IRAs or our 401ks, getting the match, doing the things that I talk about, and make sure it's invested in ETFs, index funds, low cost, low fee, so it is building and growing over time. And this is the time where you sit back and say, let's take the friction out of what I'm doing. Let's automate the whole thing. So set up automatic transfers so you don't have to rely on willpower. Okay? So for this piece of it, what I want to do is I want to take a certain amount of money. I want it automatically transferred to a high yield savings account. I also want, if I have additional funds, transferred to a brokerage account, and that automatically invested. You can set it up and forget it and allow it to run in the background without your efforts, without you having to pull the levers, twist the dials, do the things. And once that money's going that way, we never dip into it. We don't make it easy to access. We stick to the automation. We stick to the plan because this is going to allow you to have the future you want. Okay? That leads me to number 5. This can be a tough one for people, but I want you to do a no spend challenge. Okay? This is sometimes radical for people, but I want you to temporarily just intentionally deprive yourself of certain things. Now, I'm not telling you what those things are. I'm going to ask you to pick some. But here's what I mean. Maybe you completely cut out for 6 months buying new clothes. Maybe you completely cut out for 6 months eating out or entertainment spending. But find 1, 2, 3 categories that for 6 months you will intentionally say, it's off limits. It's off limits, okay? Maybe you drink wine and you get a bottle of wine. I don't know, whatever it is, but you're going to have commitment to it. But here's the key. It's not to get you to stop spending for the sake of spending. It's what you stop spending on that needs to then be used to save. Okay. So we're doing this temporarily so we can get through it. Okay. It's like, I remember when I first got diagnosed with the cancer, I did a water fast. Now I knew there was an end to it, but let me tell you, in the middle of it, it was killer. But because I knew it was temporary, I got through it. This is temporary. This is temporary discomfort, but it is going to allow you to accelerate and jumpstart that savings in that 6 months. So find which categories you want to cut out, make it a game, set weekly savings milestones, compete with maybe a friend or a partner and create a visual tracker. I remember in school, we had the thermometer when we were selling magazines or something like that. But it's going to take some hard choices because you might have to say no to some fun things that maybe you decided, I'm going to cut that out. But on the other side of that, you'll be much better off. Okay. So number 5 is really about you doing a no spend challenge for 6 months, finding those 1, 2, or 3 categories that you can say, I'm going to cut that out for 6 months. All right. That leads me to number 6. Number 6 is multiplying the momentum. And this is something we think about after the 6 months. What do you do after the 6 months? Okay. Listen, if you followed the plan and you've been able to save, you could have put $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 away, maybe even $10,000 away in 6 months. If you're disciplined, if you're diligent, if you're committed to this, if you've done this. So the next step is to sit back and say, okay, which one of the things that I'm doing can I keep doing? Okay. Because it doesn't do us any good to say, all right, I did it for 6 months. And then you go right back to your old habits. Because now, after 6 months, you're looking at it, you can see the proof. You see what's possible. Now, maybe it won't be as at accelerated rate because you're not doing the no spend challenge, or you're not taking on as many side hustles to increase the income. But the habits you created that created this savings, that created the momentum, we do not want to stop. We want to keep it going, keep the habit going. So once you see what's possible, it can become addictive. Okay. So we don't go back to those old spending habits. We don't reintroduce spending intentionally. Now we look at it and say, how can I expand on this? Taking more of the savings that we're putting away and getting it investing for us to grow and make this a permanent mindset, a permanent pattern, a permanent habit. Because here's what I know. When you create behaviors in our life that do the math of wealth, the math will work out. Okay. Bottom line is, it's like exercise. You want to lose weight. It comes down to move more, eat less. If you want to build wealth, it comes down to make more, spend less. It's not crazy rocket science. Now, the details. What do I invest in? Great. That's why I got my book. That's why I do the trainings. But don't let that stand in the way. And now you've created some habits at the end of 6 months. Let's keep the majority, if not all of those going, because we've just started you on a money momentum path to financial freedom. And now, instead of going back to your old ways, let's keep moving forward in the new way. All right. This is the game that I want you to play. Just do it for 6 months. I'd love to hear how it goes for you. I'd love to hear what your savings goals are, what the no spends are. Tell me what's going on. Tell me what you're doing. Let me cheerlead you. Let me support you in this journey and help you through it. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy, because changing a habit and doing some of the things, especially if they're emotional spending triggers and psychological spending triggers, those kinds of things, there's secondary gain to doing it. We gotta navigate that. So I'm here to help. I'm here to support, to cheer you on, and to keep you on that path. Because here's what I know. When you build the right habits, the right behaviors to build wealth, to give you financial freedom, it is not something that just gives you a life today, but it gives you a life tomorrow and for the rest of your life. And it doesn't just give it to you. It gives it to you. It gives it to your family. It gives it to the people you love. It gives it to the causes that matter to you. And that's what I want. A freedom-based life, a life based on choice, a life that you get to choose what you do with your time, your efforts, your money, your person, and your contributions. That's it. All right. I hope that this is a wake-up call and gives you something to move forward on, because in 6 months, things could be completely different. All right. Let me know how it goes. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to the show. And do me a favor, share this out. Let other people know that we're doing this stuff and that there is a path to financial freedom, and I'm trying to light it. Remember, I have nothing to sell you as far as investments or insurance or anything like that. I simply want to light the path to financial freedom and your dreams. All right? Till I get a chance to see you on your road to your financial freedom, always strive to live a life that outlives you. See you in the next one. Cheers.